is John Cooler with OKRaw.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. We're going to do a restaurant review, and guess what? Jack in the Box now has raw vegan foods, and it's right across the street. So just kidding with you guys. We're not going to Jack in the Box. I'm not eating at Jack in the Box. Despite the inexpensive food costs over there, there's a big sign that says bonus Jack combo. I think that's like maybe, I don't know, one of those Happy Meals or something. Comes with like a hamburger, fries, and a Coke, all for $4.99. Well, what we're gonna do today is completely different, and it's gonna cost you a little bit more, but I think you're worth it. So we're gonna actually flip around here really quick. So where we're at today is actually in Hollywood, California. You see the Hollywood sign right up over yonder, and we're at actually Cahunga and Sunset Boulevard, actually 1 block away from the farmer's market. So the best day to come here, check out this restaurant, is on Sundays, like 9 to 1. So you could also hit one of the largest farmers markets in Southern California. It's definitely my favorite. And if you go, you want to check out the sauerkraut, dude. Definitely good. Anyways, what we're going to do today is a restaurant review, raw restaurant review. Now this place is not necessarily vegan, and actually not all raw, but they're mostly all raw and mostly all vegan. We're at LifeFood Organic, and we're at LifeFood, the food is all organic. So I guess let me tell you a little bit more about this place. The first thing is here in LA County, I think it's really nice. They actually have a public health, environmental health rating system, and they post that in every window, so you could be like an A, B, or C, and this one rates an A. So I highly encourage you guys to visit places that rate an A because they're following safe practices in food handling, which is especially important when dealing with raw foods. In any case, let's head inside LifeFood Organic. Now, the LifeFood Organic restaurant here is actually owned by Annie Jubb. For those of you guys that know about Annie Jubb, she wrote a book with David Jubb about life foods. And so inside you'll see a whole bunch of different raw food products, including supplements you can purchase and take home. But why I'm here today is actually to eat some of the delicious food. So if you come over here, you can order different smoothies and juices. But they have a nice case here with to-go foods already prepared so that you can buy and take away. They also do have some small seating areas here if you want to eat on site. Inside here they have a whole bunch of different things, and I like that you could actually see each one before you buy it. And you could also see the portion sizes and see kind of what's in there. They list the ingredients. This is the Asian dragon wrap, the Thai spring rolls, the Alfredo pasta, the coconut cream pie, the caramel apple cake, the chocolate dream cake, the pumpkin pie, the triple chocolate fudge, lemon meringue pie. They got a coconut yogurt here. They got a zucchini pesto kelp noodles, a Sunburger bento box, hummus and crackers, super nachos, lasagna, falafel wrap, I love sushi, taquitos, award-winning chili. Down here is the super sandwich, and the super sandwich does have a real bread on it, but you can get it in the raw version. Here's the tuna melt, but this is a vegan. No tuna in there. It's made up of nuts, actually. They got a couple soups, the garlic pesto pizza. Now they have a raw feta pizza. Now this raw feta pizza has real cheese made with goat milk, so this is not vegan, so be aware of that. They also have pad thai noodles, seaweed salad, garden veggie salad, and a Greek salad with raw goat feta. So there's just so many things to buy, so what I'm gonna do next is actually I'm gonna kind of figure out what I wanna get, and when figuring out what I wanna get, I take a look at the ingredients. There's some ingredients that I don't generally like to eat, like in some of the desserts, I don't generally like to eat, coconut sugar and agave and things like that, and in some of the other recipes, I don't generally like to eat things that are high in salt or have a lot of nuts and seeds. I'd rather get things that are more water rich and have more fresh vegetable content than a lot of the nut and seed content. So we're gonna go ahead and select some of the cool things, and then we'll come back at you and share with you guys actually how they taste. Now we're seated, and I just actually got all the different foods, and all these guys comes pre-packaged, and hopefully they're in corn. Yep, they're in PLA or corn plastics. That's definitely a good thing. And as you can see, we got 4 different items today. First, we got the taquitos. So you get 4 little taquitos with 2 different sauces. That was like 10 bucks. Next, we got the dragon wrap. So this is actually probably one of the best values. It's actually quite heavy. In here, it's basically cut up vegetables with some sauces, and there's a wrap that was a dehydrated wrap. Next, of course, can't pass up a raw food restaurant who has a pizza, and burritos actually were my 2 favorite foods before I went raw. That's BR, before raw. And let's see, we got crust on here. Looks like some hummus, sauce with some kind of vegetables on top with some olives, so I like that a lot. And last but not least, the one that I'm really interested in trying is this guy right here. This is actually the least expensive item, and what this is raw bread. Yes, eat your heart out, people. For those of you guys that, like, you know, miss your bread, this is a raw bread, and check it out. I mean, it looks like one of those German breads that are nice, rich, and thick, but it actually looks like bread, and in a little bit we'll get to taste it and share with you guys if it really tastes like cooked bread. But once again, this is raw and dehydrated, so it's gonna be pretty amazing. So I guess without further ado, let's dig in. First, we're gonna try the taquitos, and you know, a lot of times what I really recommend before you guys come to a raw food restaurant like this is that you guys pre-party, or what my friend Radina says, preload. What that simply means is actually, you know, go to the farmer's market first and eat a lot of like romaine lettuce or some cucumbers or some celery to like load up on water-rich foods before you start eating some of this dense and heavier foods, or just eat at the farmer's market and skip the restaurant altogether. Any case, I like to have some fun sometimes, and we're gonna try the taquitos next, and you can see they get 3 little taquitos, and you get a guacamole here, and also like a little salsa. And inside this little taquito, you can see it has some lettuce cut up, and then also meat inside there is actually just ground up nuts and probably some like seasonings as well. We're gonna dip a little bit in the guacamole. It's pretty good. Now, you know, a lot of my review videos focus on the taste of the food, but the taste is only one aspect of how the food is. I really want you to encourage you guys to actually see how you feel immediately after, you know, 4 hours later, and even tomorrow after you eat some of the food at some of the restaurants you guys, you know, go out to. And if you feel great, like the next day and even 4 hours after, then that's definitely a good sign that you got some good raw food. The jury's in on the taquitos. Actually, they taste quite good, and I don't know what normal taquitos should taste like that are cooked in the cooked world, but for raw taquitos, they definitely pass my test. The next thing we're gonna move on to is actually the pizza here. I love pizzas, especially raw pizzas, and I've had so many, so I'm excited about trying this one next. Let's see here, we'll pick this guy up. It's fairly small, but you know, it's only $7, so that's actually a decent price for a raw pizza. And I like that this one actually has a lot of fresh vegetables cut up. A lot of raw pizzas are mostly like dehydrated stuff, and I want to encourage you guys to eat as much fresh food as possible. And fresh food, I mean fresh fruits and fresh vegetables.
Everything is sold. Most eating we do is dehydrated. Yeah, including the soup. So very popular.
For actually a raw pizza, now it doesn't taste like your traditional pizza, and the bread here tastes kind of like more grainy than I like. I don't generally eat a whole lot of grains, but actually liking it. It's actually quite good. So I'm finishing up the last slice of pizza, and I have to give my comments now after eating almost the whole thing. It's actually quite good, actually quite hot and spicy, and actually gave me a mucus reaction. So I want you guys to pay attention. You know, the more you eat raw foods and the more clean you eat, and clean I mean eating fruits and vegetables without a lot of extra spices and additives, your body becomes more sensitive, and it'll let you know if something's not good. So like in the back of my throat, I just get this mucus, and it's kind of like that rubbery texture, like when you got a cold, it lines my mouth. And that's because my body wants to encapsulate some of the toxic stuff in the food. I mean, but we're at a raw, living, live food restaurant that's organic, so it shouldn't be toxic, right? Well, my body's perceiving something in here that's not right for me. And I would encourage you guys to pay attention to your body, and next time I'm probably not gonna get this same pizza. I'll try something else. The next thing I'm gonna try are the dragon wraps. Check it out right here. These are actually nice and heavy, and they're nice and big. I like that, you know, these wraps here, they have some dehydrated shell, maybe with some flax seeds and some other stuff. But they have a lot of cut up vegetables, and whenever you guys go to a raw food restaurant, I encourage you guys to actually eat water-rich foods. So water-rich foods are, you know, the foods that have fruits and vegetables cut up into it instead of a lot of dehydrated stuff that doesn't have a whole lot of water content. After all, we are 70 to 75% water. If you're not eating foods, at least that water content percentage, and dates are not that water percentage content. They're like 25%. So even foods like dried dates and other foods at raw restaurants that aren't 70% or more water content will dehydrate you. And actually, I think I'm feeling a little bit thirsty now. In any case, let's move on to try these dragon wraps that are a lot of vegetables contained within. These do have some beets in there, and you can see the beet sauce there, and this stuff will stain your clothes, so be very careful or grab extra napkins. All right, so we're gonna bite into this thing. Wow. This is a nice mild flavor. Tastes a lot of the vegetables, but also the cool sauce. And actually, I like this one a lot. I'm gonna finish more of it, and I'll come back at you after I've finished it to let you know my final answer. I'm continuing to eat my dragon wrap here, and it's taking me a while, not only because of the good company I have, but because I'm also chewing my food very well. So it really takes me a long time to eat. And I want to encourage you guys to chew your food appropriately. I mean, think about it. When you're a baby, most babies are fed baby food because, they don't have teeth, so it's in a mush-like state. So you want to take the food that you're eating, use your teeth to turn it into a mush-like state before you swallow it to get the best and optimal digestion. So I like to do that every mouthful, and consequently, it may take me some time to eat, and hopefully it'll take you some time as well now. I just finished the dragon roll here, and as you can see, the empty container definitely took me a while to chew it all up, but I can definitely say it's probably the best thing that I've had so far. But I'm always saving the best for last, and I know this is the part that you guys have been waiting for. We got that raw food bread that, I know you guys want to know what it tastes and looks like and all that stuff. It's like a really thick, heavy bread, but it's actually kind of fluffy. It's not all hard. In addition, we got some cashew, maybe cream cheese to go with it. So first we're gonna go ahead and try a piece of this bread. Wow. So the crust is more like a traditional crust, like, when it gets hard, because it's harder, the inside's more doughy. I wouldn't necessarily say this is like a normal bread that you would eat, or it's a normal bread that I remember, and it's been a long time since I've eaten bread. But one of the things I like about this bread is actually it's made with flax and chia as the primary components. And those are foods that are very high in omega-3 fatty acids, and in my opinion, many people may be deficient in getting enough omega-3s in the right balance compared to the omega-6s. Especially if you're eating something like almonds or sunflower seeds, that could really imbalance you and give you far too many omega-6s and not enough 3s. So it's important if you do eat sunflower seeds and almonds and even other nuts, make sure you eat some flax, chia, and even hemp seeds that have higher levels of omega-3s than those other nuts and seeds. I finished actually a whole bunch of the bread, and what I determined is this: the bread, if you eat it plain, is actually not so good. But what you do is, if you take this cashew cheese stuff, man, you put this stuff on the bread, spread it on there, and eat it. Man, this stuff is the bomb. So actually buying the bread like this is actually quite a good idea. You want to put the spread on here, maybe spread some avocado, some tomato, and some lettuce on top, sandwich it in there, and you'll have your own little raw sandwich. But just make sure you add a lot of fresh vegetables. So actually overall, I do like the bread, and for $5, I think it's an incredible value, and it's most reminiscent of bread that I've ever tasted on the raw foods diet. So I'm just finishing up the bread here with a little cheese on it, and actually it's fairly good. And I guess the last thing I want to go over with you guys is actually what I like the most. So definitely like the dragon wrap the most. Is $10 for actually a nice large wrap with a lot of vegetables in there. I guess overall I'd have to rate this place probably like 2.5 out of 5 apples. Now, that may not seem like a good rating, but for me, trust me, it is. I rate my food sometimes even only a 4, and I don't give it a 5 out of 5. So I'm really relatively hard on, my rating scale, and also in general, because, I think that restaurants should aspire to, really growing their own food and serving it as fresh as possible. And I like to see restaurants have a lot of, water content rich foods available. So instead of a lot of dehydrated things, have a lot of things full of vegetables, just like wraps, really made with collard leaves. And they do a lot of that here. Actually, they have a lot of wraps with, dehydrated wraps with vegetables and some sauce in it, which I think are the best. Some things like the bread are all dehydrated, which, I'm not a super huge fan of. The other thing I want to mention is that, my reviews are based on my 17 years of eating a living in raw food style. I'm not somebody that's been doing raw foods for a year or two and, might come here, oh yeah, it's great. And if you were one of those people, you came here, you'd probably think this is fabulous, because actually it is fairly good. But for me and my lifestyle now, where I eat whole fruits and vegetables for the most of the time without a lot of gourmet stuff like this on a regular basis, except when I do restaurant reviews for you guys, I eat a lot cleaner, so that's my reference point. So I have a little bit reference point than most people. That being said, if you're currently eating Jack in the Box like we just saw across the street, this is much healthier, and I highly encourage you guys to invest money in the most important thing you got, and that's not your IRA or 401c or 410c or 401k or whatever they call it. You want to invest the money in your health. Use the money you have to buy the highest quality, best tasting foods that's going to keep you as healthy as possible. because in the end, all you got really is your health. So think about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. And remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're truly the best. All right, so, everything was pretty cool at this restaurant, but the one thing they have to improve on are the chairs. Instead of the plastic chairs, they should have some nice wooden logs so that people don't fall off and hurt themselves.